Well, good morning, guys. Once again, my name's Adam Winningham. Sorry I can't be on the camera with you, but thanks to a wonderful echo and a water tower, we're going to kind of narrate this from a distance. So we've talked about the MPD, we talked about the Petzl. Now we're really going to begin to look at the application and see that they're used. We got firefighter Ryan Head that's really going to walk through the Petzl ID. In this particular instance, we're going to use the Petzl ID for our belay or our safety line. So we have already captured, we have already attached our line to our load just with a figure 8 on a bight and a carabiner. And now he's going to begin to open that device up, and as he opens it, he's going to load the rope in the means that his load is in the proper direction. And then he's just simply going to attach it to his anchor. In another video, we may talk about anchors and how you select your anchors and things, but you will see that he loaded it very similar to how I discussed in the previous video. He's going to make sure his carabiners are secured. And once he does all that, the good rule of thumb is always check that device. If you check that device, there's no room for failure. So let's make sure and give that a good yank, Ryan, and make sure that it's not allowing it to go backwards. And then on a safety, your main job is just to take all the slack away. You can kind of see if he can go ahead and suck up all that slack. So now he's just testing his system, guys. That's all he's doing is testing it, seeing that it works back and forth. And if you pull back in line with your rope, Ryan, it'll make that resistance a little bit less on you, make it a little easier to pull, but at the end of the day, it does the exact same purpose. So as of right now, our safety is in place, and just for the giggles of it, let's go ahead and close that device and tie it off. So he closed that device. He's going to throw a little overhand knot in there. And that overhand knot does serve multiple purposes. One, if that device was to fail, that knot cannot go through that device, but also signals from a distance that that device is tied off and secured. So right now we have captured our load. Now let's begin to prepare to move our load. We got firefighter Edwin Kaiser is going to begin setting up the MPD, the multi-purpose device made by CMC. If you remember, this device is a little different to set up, but similar. The very first thing he's going to do is open that device all the way up. He's going to load it properly with his load going down the left-hand side of that device. And he's just going to secure it to his anchor. Once he secures it to his anchor, and good rule of thumb, you remember, always test, give it a good yank, make sure that your load can't go downhill. So right now, Edwin has created what we would call a simple one-to-one device. There's absolutely no advantage here, but we have technically, I guess, maybe not. I don't know. We've created a haul system, but there's absolutely no advantage. Now you see Edwin doing a neat thing. He's cleaning up his system. That's a good thing to do, guys. It takes a lot of practice to always do it the first time, but he can look at his system and clean it up. He has those handles laying on top and his ropes laid out clean. Now Edwin is going to create what we call a Z-rig or a 3-to-1 system. He's using a Gibbs ascender to capture his rope. You can use other devices in this place. You can use a Prusik cord if you choose, but we do like using a Gibbs ascender. So he's pulled that pin out, he's attached it to his rope. On that Gibbs ascender, there's actually an arrow that points to his load. Good rule of thumb, always test that. Hey, give that thing a good yank, make sure you got it. Yeah, you go. So he tied it on. He even snuck a carabiner on there already, so he beat me to the punch of the narration there. And now if you see there's a big Z, and he has created what we would call that Z-rig, that 3-to-1 system, and he is able to get an advantage of 3-to-1, meaning if he pulls 10 pounds, that load's going to experience 30 pounds of pull. So as Edwin begins to pull and move that load, you also begin to see Ryan, all he's doing is monitoring the slack. The load's beginning to move. And if we needed to simulate the load's coming up, and looks, we got about 3 or 4 more feet of pull there, and we're about to experience a little bit of a problem. So let's go ahead and simulate that problem. Go ahead and pull on up. That's fine. And you see Edwin now is resetting, is what we call that Z-rig. And the neat thing about the MPD, that has captured that load the entire time, and he can continue to pull and reset as many times as possible And now we've basically successfully completed a 3-to-1 haul system with a proper safety in place. So hopefully that answers most of your questions on a 3-to-1 system.